Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Let's get a sound check this morning. Sound quality reasonably good this morning. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, Sandy. Are you in the 30s this week or in the 40s to 50s? We're going to be in the 70s for most of this week, so we still have a fairly mild fall weather facing us. In the 40s, okay. Yeah, for this time of year, it probably is pretty good. Not much news to drive in this morning. I think the market is going to swing on whether the E-mini rallies or sells, and the E-mini is a little soft this morning. Friday, we said the E-mini would close mathematically at 75, Thursday's call and put action no higher than 1880, and it closed just below 1880. So we had a pretty good assessment of Friday's market in place. Now we have no news for this morning's trading. My guess is that we're looking at a trading range. And I think that ultimately the direction of today's market is going to be tied to the direction of the E-mini. If the E-mini sells, and it looks like it might this morning, then this market should be up. So I come in with an up bias. Basically, I'm guessing that 12 to 16 is pretty good support, so we'll put our first buy at 13 to 17. And then 5 to 9 for our second buy. And really, we're going to be down, my guess is, to the direction of the E-mini when it's all said and done. The issue, do we sell 23s to 27s, or do we sell 27s to 31s? We got a high of 26. We're pointed higher right now. So I'm going to start out trying to sell 27s to 31s. Because we're pointed higher, and I think we got ourselves a trading range, and you can see we have a period high at 27, a Z period high at 30, and a Y period high at, what, 31.5. So we should have pretty good resistance in this area right here. So a play for stops above 26, but we may have to lower that sell. I mean, it's hard to say right now. This 23 to 27 could be our sell zone. Then 3 to 7 for cell number 2. So it is a Monday morning. Quite often it takes a couple of hours for the direction to sort itself out. That's the situation I think we find ourselves in this morning. And usually on a day like today, it requires a little bit of patience, humility, and I know it's difficult to do. And if you miss the first couple hours of trading on a Monday morning, you know, you still have to Friday afternoon to make your business plan. So it's not the end of the world. Looking at the 30-year, similar situation. The knob spread held in over the weekend. You can see right here that we got all this volume down in this 24, 27 area, and this market rotated down to 21. So we're going to 17 to 21, then 9 to 13 for buy 2. On the sell side, 7 to 11, it's where resistance is. And 15 to 19. And again, my guess is it's really down to what the E-mini does. There's a high of 8. There's a high of 13. You can see London all the way up there, what, 21, 22, the last rotate up. So this 8 to 13 area looks like it might be pretty solid. And we'll see if we can get it done there. Same situation to the note. It may take 3s to 7s to get in, but I think we got a pretty good chance of trading higher with a little bit of help from the E-mini. Gold was also pretty quiet. I mean, there isn't a lot of news to drive the trading in any of the markets this weekend. Asia's stock market was higher, especially Japan's. China and Hong Kong were fairly quiet. Then the Europe's markets sold. And so it looks like we're headed for a test of 1250. So we'll make 48 to 50. It is resistance. I mean, there's no magic in this trade, just leaning against resistance. And then 53 to 55, letting them get stops above 50. Looking for where support was. We liked the 35 area over the weekend. It held up pretty good. So we've got 40 to 42, very, very aggressive. 35, 37, but that's where support is. And again, we don't have any news to drive the trading. So trading range is most likely. Thanks, Don, for that information. I read the article this morning. IBM's getting rid of its chip manufacturing, and I believe it was either sold to a firm out of the Emirates or a firm out of Qatar. I don't really remember. But they promised and assured everybody that the only people that would be leaving the firm would be those that IBM chose to retain to work with IBM, and that they have access to, for the next 10 years, to IBM's intellectual property. It'll be a collaborative effort. And, you know, again, you see that really, really large firms are their mechanism. I mean, they're large, they're well capitalized. They've got the cash flow, they got the name. In fact, they can raise their own money in the markets. And they buy out competitors or sectors of the market they think that will support the current operation. And when it becomes too labor intensive or it starts to hurt the bottom line, they get rid of those. And it usually has to do more with the amount of people that work for the firm than a lot of times just products. Okay, we have our 28, one of those round numbers. As you know, we love to sell into these round numbers. So sell 1 is 90 to the buck, and then 15 to 25 for sell 2. On the buy side, we've got the mean green line down here. So I really, because we're so close to 28, I really don't like the long side of the market. So we've got our 50 to 60, and then 20 to 30, letting them get stops beneath this for buy 2. It's funny, the European Central Bank has designated the paper they would not buy. Then they came back and they cut that list in half. They said they will half the paper we said we wouldn't buy, we will buy. So they're still in a state of flux as to what and when constitutes QE1 for them and when it gets started. So all subject to change. Okay, looking at map of the war in Iraq and the northern part of Syria, where the Kurds got airdropped munitions and medical supplies and logistically so. There's supposedly 2 little hot spots that they need to wrap up to take the contested city. I think it's Kobani back. The ISIS is still supposedly about 8 miles west of the Baghdad International Airport. That supposedly is being defended by U.S. troops now. So, but that, man-fired shoulder-operated missiles probably make the descent into the Baghdad airport pretty hairy. You just spiral down, in a deep bank, and you lose a lot of altitude, and then in that final turn, you pull the nose up, you hit your spoilers, and hopefully the runway's long enough to put yourself down. But cheap thrills for those in the back of the airplane. Okay, crude oil. I think Saudi Arabia, there were a lot of stories out last week, and everybody, conspiracy theories just go around the world, and they always have a little bit of plausibility with it, but supposedly the U.S. government called up Saudi Arabia because of our shale oil production. That would be really, really, really a stretch, in my opinion. Al-Weed talking to the Saudi royal family about not being so vocal about their production and their pricing, probably be a little bit closer to the truth. But Saudi Arabia said $80 oil didn't bother them, and they were going to produce 8 million barrels per day. And they are the swing producer. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Right now, London's high was 82.61. We're at 82.10. So 50 to 75 is sell 1. 83 and a quarter is sell 2. On the buy side, stops below the overnight session low and Friday's low right here. So we'll make 75 to 50 buy 1. And buy 2, 81 even, 81 and a quarter. And I expect this market to try to bust Friday's support. It's crude oil's a market that really trades its own fundamentals. But the one thing that they can never hide is too much supply, too little supply. And right now we have too much supply. And it's funny, those that will do the most cheating are the edges and then scream the loudest about prices are Russia and Iran. They will take advantage of any and everything that they can. And then point yours where. Okay, last rotate up was 84.76. We've got this spill from 82, then 78. So then down beneath, we've got the breakout from 62 then from 66. So 65, 67 is buy 1. And then buy 2 will be our 60 to 62. On the sell side, 85, 87, sell 1 to get started. Might be at 80, I don't know, but I see a trading range with a lower bias or at least a test of support. We can't bust this 60, 65 area, which is where I have support, then we can trade up later in the session. So might take an aggressive sell against 80 to get in. And then 89 to 91 will be sell 2. But no news to drive the trade. Was up almost 4%. Hong Kong and Shanghai, modest gains for what went on in Japan. The EU and the UK sold. Like I said, the big play on Friday was option expiration. Mathematically, based on puts and calls, 75s with the mathematical expiration based on the structure. Then based on Thursday's plays and put and calls, we said 80, that it would close at 80 or lower. So it did close just below 80. And here we find ourselves at 76. So was Friday's and Thursday's rally based on the ECB, and what we're going to do now, the ECB today or tomorrow could come out and say we're going to buy this paper starting now, and if that is the case, this market will rally. If they don't say anything, I think we can at least get down and test support at that 60, 65 area. So that's how we'll get started this morning, and we'll see what happens. Okay, it'll take at least 15 minutes to get everything up and done and running. I'm going to get busy on that right now. I'll be back with you as soon as possible.